Shalom. I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, and to my elder, to Zion, who introduced me to this truth, taught me this truth primarily, but what he learned from the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to the hopeful elect across the four corners of the earth. In the sincere spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. Alright, my name is Makara, and this is gonna be a little lesson on nuclear anxiety, which I heard about this term on a radio. And it was supposed to be they mentioned something about it being a Fox 5 news report, but I couldn't pull it up when I went to go look for it. So I just did a little research, and I pulled up a couple scripts, and I'm gonna get into it. It's a lot on it, so I'm not gonna read everything. You could go back and do your own research, your own reading on the topic. But the point is to let it be known that the threat of nuclear destruction is a real thing. All right, so this is nuclear anxiety from Wikipedia. Nuclear anxiety, also known as nucleomituphobia, refers to anxiety or even a phobia in the face of a potential future nuclear holocaust, particularly during the Cold War and more recently the Russian invasion of Ukraine, which we know that that tension over there with Russia and Ukraine, all that tension in the Middle East is going to lead up to what? World War III, all right, which is going to end with Yahweh Shah making his second return, all right, with the so-called UFOs, which are actually the vehicles in which the angels traveling, not aliens, and them thermonuclear bombs being shot off, all right, America being totally destroyed, from Russia and all of Russia's allies and all of the allies that's going to turn on America, nuking this bitch, all right, and destroying the whole land, like I said, which is the will of the Most High, right? But now it's just tension. It's tension between, even though it's tension between Russia and America, the biggest tension is over there in the Middle East, all right, with Israel, Iran, and those Muslim countries over there, all right, and Russia, which we know Russia is backing Iran, and America is backing Israel, and they, it's so shit gonna hit the fan. But like I said, it's all of the will of the Most High. All right, so I'm gonna grab this Isaiah 13:5. It says, "They come from a far country." What's the day that come from a far country? Those nuclear bombs. All right, because Russia and all the other countries that's going to shoot nuclear bombs on America are far away. All right, you can't just drive there. You gotta take a flight. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, which Russia is is the superpower on the eastern hemisphere of the earth, and America is the superpower on the western hemisphere of the earth. From the end of heaven, even the Lord. From the east, that's where the chariots is going to come from. That's where Yahweh Shah going to make his second return from as well, from the east. It says, from the end of heaven, and even the Lord, and the weapons of his indignation, which is righteous anger, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Right, the whole America is going to be destroyed. It says, how ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. See, it's all of the will of the Most High to for America to be destroyed. For 5 parts of Russia, 5 parts out of 6, 5/6 of Russia to be destroyed as well. All right, and other countries. How ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. It's a judgment. It's a judgment primarily on E, the nation of Edom. All right, the devil in the flesh, but also other nations that had a hand in the downfall of Israel, all right, and destruction of Israel, which are these so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, and 2/3 of even our nation. All right, only the elect, the 144,000, and 1/3 population of the nation of Israel is going to be saved, because they're the ones that's going to have this true spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah on them, protecting them and keeping them from receiving that sea hip, all right, which is the mark of the beast, according to the scriptures. Isaiah 13:7. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt, which represents your mind, right? Because what? Therefore shall all hands be faint, meaning they're going to be powerless. Everybody going to be powerless in the day of the Lord's judgment, when those nuclear bombs are shot off, and every man's heart shall melt, right? And whatever thoughts is in a person's mind is just going everybody's just going to shut down and just be in shock. Verse 8, and they shall be afraid. Everybody going to be afraid. Pangs, which are sharp pains that come out of nowhere, and sorrows, which is being being depressed and being sad, shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth, right? They're going to be in pain like a woman about to have a baby and experiencing labor pains. They shall be amazed one at another. They're going to be shocked. Like I said, they're not going to believe what it is that they're seeing, and the inevitable destruction that they know that they're gonna face. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. They're gonna be shocked. Their faces gonna be lit up, and then literally they gonna burn up. Their faces gonna be burnt up. Lord willing, we be exempt from that judgment. All right, the hopeful elect. All right, and that's why we putting these lessons out here. That's why the men of the Lord go on the highways and byways, pushing this truth. All right, pushing the gospel and letting, which is what the establishing of the kingdom, which can't happen without Yahweh Shah, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. So I'm gonna drop that for a second, and then I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go ahead. Isaiah 54:16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy. What's the waster? Those nuclear bombs. All right, and what's the smith? The smith is those scientists that the Most High put the spirit to invent and come up with the technology to create those nuclear weapons. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire. All any type of smith, any type of creator of weapons, all right, or instruments. The Lord created all things, all right, and all things created. Um, Everybody that created, each and every single person that created anything on the face of the earth, the Lord put the spirits in those people to create the things that they created, to invent the things that they invented. I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. Right, because everything is for his will. And I have created the waster to destroy what? America, ultimately. All right, to bring Esau, to bring out out of his power seat. All right, because what? If the Lord don't take him out, they'll fuck around and rule forever and destroy the whole world. Anyway, in wickedness. So the Lord is going to destroy, going to bring their nation out of power and destroy them for righteousness' sake because of their wickedness, as well as 2/3 of our nation. This is Jeremiah 50 and 25. The Lord have opened his armory and have brought forth the weapons of his indignation. Right, so you gotta imagine like the Lord opening up his locker full of weapons. All right, or opening up uh, uh um a a basement full of weapons. All right, and he like, man, bring those nukes, bring those nuclear bombs out, bring those ICBMs out. All right, I'm about to use them. And if you look at and if you know anything about war, when two nations will go to war in the ancient days, it will always be uh it will always be the arrows. It'll always be the archers shooting the arrows to start the war, to get it popping. All right. Before hand to hand combat, all right. Those archers will be shot off to take out as many many members of the opposing army. All right, to knock the numbers down, to make it to make it easier, or potentially make it easier to have a ground war. The Lord have opened his armory and have brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of the Lord Yahweh of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans, right? Which represents the elites of America, because the Chaldeans was the elites and the wise men of ancient Babylon, all right, which is reincarnated and symbolically America now. All right, so I'm gonna drop that. So the point is that, like I said, it's the Lord's will for World War III to pop off. It's the Lord's will for nuclear bombs to be used. It's the Lord's will. It's the Most High's will for America to be totally destroyed, and other parts of the world to be destroyed by those thermonuclear bombs. This is Second Esdras 16 and 13. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. Right, because that's one thing that people say when you bring up the topic of World War III and nuclear bombs hitting America. They automatically say, "Oh, our our nuclear defense system uh, is so great that even if other nations were to try to were to try to shoot missiles over here, they would never touch the grounds of America. But that's a lie. That's just the pride of the people. That's just how prideful these devils got the people running around. Behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. And what's those plagues? Those thermonuclear bombs, which plagues are is just any type of widespread affliction. All right, and those nuclear bombs, is gonna afflict the whole land. It's gonna afflict the whole world. It say the whole world is gonna shake to and fro. All right, roughly paraphrasing. All right, but mainly America is the bullseye. All right, America is the center, is the main place where the nuclear bombs is gonna be is gonna hit at. For strong, back to 13. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. For his arrows that he shooteth are sharp and shall not miss. When they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. So the Lord said that the nuclear bombs not gonna miss when they begin to be shot from one end from the other end of the earth. And the Lord mean that anything that He say gonna happen happens. It's been proven time and time throughout history. Behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. It's gonna be so much fire here. It's gonna be the Lord gonna tear this place up. So many nukes and even the chariots gonna be tearing this place up with concentrated fire. Which we know as laser beams. All right, it's gonna be so much fire that even when we in the kingdom, we gonna see the smoke burning for a long time. All right, so I'm gonna go from there, and then I'm gonna finish this. Well, I'm gonna jump down here. I'm gonna read this over. Nuclear anxiety, also known as nucleomitophobia, refers to anxiety or even a phobia, a fear, in the face of a potential future nuclear holocaust, particularly during the Cold War, right? Because that's when tensions was the highest prior to the times that we living in now. All right, back in the Cold War days when after World War II, all right, before the Soviet Union broke up, all right, and more recently, the Russian invasion of Ukraine, right, and that's pertaining to Ezekiel 38, when the Lord say He shall put hooks into the jaws of the Russian people, the Russian government. All right, which the Lord is doing through this man Putin. All right, Putin is bringing back Russia into that Soviet Union state of mind. All right, which they got their eyes locked in on America and any of their allies who trying to creep up closer to try to take over that Eastern Hemisphere superpower, which is Russia. I'm going to jump down. I'm not going to read all this. Jump down. It says the term originates from the Cold War period and has been defined as a fear of nuclear war and of its consequences. It was particularly examined as an issue in child and adolescent psychiatry, and much of the research on nuclear anxiety among youth was conducted in the 1980s in many countries. Due to the influence of the particular context under which studies were carried out, replicably, it is difficult if not impossible, to verify. More recent studies regarding nuclear anxiety in the 21st century are relatively scarce. And the reason for that is because what? People have been brainwashed. First of all, people have gotten used to the thought of nuclear bombs existing, and nuclear bombs, nations having nuclear capabilities. All right, so much that they sleeping on those weapons being used in an actual war. Um, um, and another reason for that is because what? Back in the Cold War days, a lot of them people then died off. All right, and the people that's living now, they wasn't living. Most of the people that's living now, it wasn't living back in those days when those tensions was high after World War II during the Cold War days. All right. So now it's a whole new generation of people who's just totally sleep, and they think that it's impossible, or they think that it's a joke. Really, they really think that it's nothing to be worried about um when the, when talking about thermonuclear bombs being used. And that's how the Lord wanted to be, right? Because the scripture says he shall come as a thief in the night. All right, that's all part of the Most High's will, like I said. So that's it. I ain't gonna continue on that. I'm gonna go back to no, I'm gonna go up here. Right? This is an article from truthout.org, and it came out January 21st, 2024. It says, are nuclear armed nations entering a new arms race in 2024? Experts weigh in. Experts worry about a possible nuclear arms race as global instability and the threat of mass destruction loom large. So this is a very real thing. That's the point. That's the point of this lesson, to let it be known that this is a very real thing. This is not nothing to be playing around with. This is not any type of game at all. If it's a game, it's only a game for Yahweh Shemi Hawashah, all right? Which he in which there is no competition. It's gonna be a total blowout, all right? The Lord, if anything, the Lord is is in the chess game with himself, all right? And everybody on earth is just basically pawns. Everybody is just, everybody that exists is just being used towards his will. It says like waking up with a bad hangover. 2024 began with geopolitical headaches and pains from the previous year's conflicts, chaos and instability, multiple wars in Africa, Europe, and the Middle East, human-caused climate and environmental crisis, and concerns about democratic backsliding, economic stress, and social unrest marked the beginning of the new year. In 2024, a record number of national and parliamentary elections portioned a consequential but uncertain year amidst compounding crisis, the existential threat of nuclear weapons hang over humanity like a silent, menacing smog that won't go away. Currently, 5 nuclear-armed nations, Russia, Israel, Pakistan, the United Kingdom, and the United States, are actively involved in military hostilities with other countries. Today, Today, the world's 9 nuclear-armed nations have roughly 12,500 nuclear weapons, including those awaiting dismantlement. And while the overall number has been cut sharply since peaking at more than 70,000 warheads in the mid-1980s, all 9 nations are upgrading or modernizing their arsenals. In 2022, they spent nearly $8.3 billion on nuclear weapons, right? And so, they always lying about shit, and then it's countries that they probably don't even know that got nuclear capabilities. But even so, each one of those nuclear warheads got way more like smaller nuclear warheads within them. All right, when you research the technology of them, it says as the arsenals of nuclear armed nations age, if they aren't being retired and dismantled, they are being replaced, redesigned, and otherwise modernized to remain usable. The United States is poised to spend possibly as much as $2 trillion in the next 30 years to modernize its nuclear triad, which I can't see this place going on for another 30 years. Lord willing, it don't. 30 years to modernize its nuclear triad. Bombers, submarines, long-range ballistic missiles. All non-nuclear armed nations are currently expanding or modernizing their arsenals. All right, so that's it. That's all I'm gonna read on that. But like I said, this is a real threat. This is a real thing. All right, this is another article from Newsweek.com, and this December 27, 2023, right before the new year. It says Doomsday Nuclear Clock 2024 gets reset as weapons fears rise. So this is multiple articles on the topic of nuclear bombs, man. Now more than ever. It says the 2024 nuclear doomsday clock has been reset, but there is still time for final revisions. The clock was created in 1947 by the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists, a nonprofit that was founded in 1945 by Albert Einstein and University of Chicago. And the state of Israel was established in what? 1948, if I'm not mistaken. So all of this happened basically all at the same time. All right, this doomsday clock and
That's not
the state of Israel. That Holocaust, which was a hoax. Let's see.
Flavor.
All right. It says the clock was created in 1947. In 1947 by the Bulletin. I've read that. It says founded in 1945 by Albert Einstein and University of Chicago, which Einstein, if I'm not mistaken, he made a quote saying something like he don't know what World War III, what weapons will be used in World War III, but all he knows is that something like it's going to knock us back into the Stone Age or something like that. It says, and University of Chicago scientists who helped develop the first atomic bomb in the Manhattan Project. It began because of escalating fears of a potential catastrophic nuclear arms race between the United States and the Soviet Union. It has been reset 25 times since its creation. Viewed as a visual representation to warn the global populace about multiple factors that could negatively affect the planet. The clock was last changed on January 24th and moved forward to 90 seconds to midnight, the closest to global catastrophe it has ever been, which is recently, talking about this January. The reasoning cited the Russia-Ukraine war that as of this February will have lasted for 2 years and has led to nuclear threats from Russia. The clock was set to